Hello there, my dudes and dudettes. Did you miss me? Did you? Aw, you did. I missed you too. I have, surprisingly enough, not perished. I was just doing a little bit of this. There was apparently a castle in there somewhere as well, or so people have told me. But where was I? Ah yes, Veldt is an absolute car crash of a word, but also a weapon in Warframe. It is a semi-automatic primary rifle that does primarily slash damage, but still has a good chunk of impact and puncture, and it has a funky set of stats. 22% crit chance, 2.2 times crit multiplier, and 22% status chance, which looks absolutely fabulous on the stat screen. It's basically a no-nonsense semi-auto rifle with a bit of a unique mechanic, I guess. It has two different zoom levels when you're aiming down sights. It does not have a scope though, it's not a sniper rifle. Oh yeah, and the fire rate on it is actually quite high, which is lovely. It's also relatively easy to get. You just get the blueprint from the Lab in the dojo, and the crafting requirements aren't all that bad either. It's 20,000 credits, 10 morphics, 600 cryotic, 7,250 ferrite, and a fully built forma. So yeah, let's give it a shot, shall we? We could actually go with a cannonade setup on this because we have a semi-auto trigger and the fire rate's really high. And then we probably go with some kind of a hybrid because the crit and status are solid enough. First things first, let's get an adapter on this. And then a bunch of galvanized stuff. Chamber, absolutely going with scope because it's very accurate, and aptitude for some GO. Cannon. There we go. Semi-rifle cannonade. We also get some punch through, which is nice. That's going to help a little bit. I mean, it's still going to be a very single target heavy weapon, but at least we get some punch through and sometimes clip another dude. Vital. Sense for some crit damage. I think a hunter munition setup would actually make the most sense here. Let's get it on. We will need to reformat this, yes. Let's flip this over to a D, like so, and then move it under aptitude. I cannot believe we're one short. Oh well, let's use unranked malignant force and ram rounds and give it a try. See what it do. I almost forgot about an arcane, and I'm gonna go with Deadhead. Mainly for the headshot multiplier. We don't really need the damage. It's gonna be nice, but we have plenty of damage on the build already. These melee guys are infuriating as hell. I should probably be using pocket sand on them. This is feeling surprisingly good. I haven't used the Veldt in a long time. I don't even know if I've used it outside of the quick look that I did for it, like, I don't know how many years ago, when it first came out. So this is good. Yes, we like this, but I'm gonna try one more thing. What if we did something like this instead? Corrosive and cold, with the rest being pretty much the same, and frostbite. I can't decide which one I like more. The first one's gonna scale better because it has more slash, but this one has more of a punch. Decisions. I forgot to take out Avenger, so I'm gonna do that now, and I'm actually gonna keep it out for the rest of the video. I will add Harold into the mix though, because, like, why would you not run a pet? Let us see what it do. Greetings, corrupted. Yep, that's pretty good. I love setups with Cannonade. Just the ramp up is non-existent. It's fabulous. So far, so good. This setup is not finished yet because we don't have maxed out Vital, so we're missing some status chance. But it's feeling pretty solid. Like, the upfront damage is good enough to not feel bad. Honestly, if you're looking for like a no-nonsense semi-auto rifle, this is a pretty good pick. Like, the damage isn't gonna win any prizes. It's not like overwhelmingly good or something, but it's good enough. I hate fighting acolytes without cold procs whilst having to aim down sights, but honestly, for a hunter munition setup, the damage is pretty decent. A very satisfactory setup so far. Now let's try the frostbite build. This isn't helping at all. The setups feel pretty much the same. I guess you would have to push this deeper into Steel Path, like 200-300 level. And then the slash would probably take over. At the end of the day though, it's nice to have two setups where the performance is relatively similar. And also the corrosive and cold setup is cheaper forma-wise if you don't go with primed cryo rounds, which is something you can do if you want to. And of course we don't get an acolyte, which is a bit of a shame, but I can comfortably say that this setup is going to perform better versus the acolyte than the hunter munition setup because it's more upfront damage focus, it has more multi-shot, more crit damage, and cold procs, which will slow the acolytes down quite a bit. Yeah, we need to max this out. How much do we... We lose nothing. That's nothing. Yeah, and yeah, that's where the 10% status, 100%, we lose like 1% chance to proc slash, is it? Yeah, that's nothing. And it's been a while since I've blessed some people. That's it. I don't feel very loved right now. Should be more than enough with the booster and a blessing. Surprisingly enough, this feels amazing on the star chart. One-shooting everything. Feels good, man. And there it is, my dudes and dudettes. We actually get a nice chunk of extra damage as well. This instantly feels a lot better, because not only are we proccing Viral more often, so we don't have to rely on Herald as much, but we also get a nice chunk of extra upfront damage. So it has a bit more of a punch than before. Good old Hunter Munitions and Viral. Still very good on some weapons, though not quite as many as before. Like, before the Jade update, basically any weapon that had crit and some status would just run Hunter Munitions. Nowadays you have more options. You can do Blast, Gas, Electricity is really good. Heat is very good, Cold is good, everything is pretty decent nowadays. Yeah, that bit of extra upfront damage makes this feel very nice. I think I prefer this to the Corrosive and Cold one. I mean, the acquired damage is so-so when you compare it to some other crit-heavy weapons, but, you know, it ain't bad. I think we have a build on our hands. I can't think of anything else I would want to change here. This feels pretty good, so yeah, let's do the thing. So here's the build, well, one of the two builds for the Veldt. We have Galvanized Chamber, Scope and Aptitude for multi-shot, crit chance and status chance with Condition Overload. Then we run Semi-Rifle Carronade for base damage and punch through, Vital Sense for crit damage, Malignant Force and Rhyme Rounds for vital damage and status chance, and then Hunter Munitions for additional slash procs. As far as the arcane goes, I just went with Deadhead because of the extra headshot multiplier. You don't necessarily need the damage, so if you would rather use a different arcane, you can, but the headshot multiplier is really strong if you're already going for headshots because of scope. Alternatively, you can run this setup instead, which runs High Voltage, Malignant Force and Rhyme Rounds instead of the Viral and Hunter Munition stuff for Corrosive and Cold. This one utilizes primary Frostbite to get additional multi-shot and crit damage. Additionally, with a weapon like this, you want to run a priming pet. I was using Good Boy Harold, my priming focused Hound, which helps prime Viral on the enemy, so I don't have to do it myself and I can basically do full damage on the first shot, but it also adds additional status effects like radiation, heat, and stuff so that Condition Overload scales our damage a little bit more. As I've already mentioned in the video, this is a pretty good, no-nonsense semi-automatic rifle, so if that's what you're looking for, this is a pretty good pick. It's not that difficult to get, but the damage is also not extraordinarily high. It's decent, but, you know, nothing game-breaking. With that said, though, it is not a very popular weapon, which means the Riven disposition is quite high, so you can get some very saucy Rivens for this. So I would recommend you give it a shot if you're looking for a no-nonsense semi-automatic rifle. And as always, guys, I thank you very much for watching and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.